Good afternoon, my name is Adnane and I'm excited to be in Accra for the first time. I've co-founded the Moroccan Center for Innovation and Social Entrepreneurship, and I've been personally interested in areas of social innovation and social enterprise for almost a decade, mostly working in North Africa. Well, basically, our organization has been working mostly on social entrepreneurship for a few years. So we're not a traditional NGO that are looking for different types of funding. Our mandate is basically how we can ensure financial sustainability and create revenue, and at the same time supporting individuals who have social enterprises to develop this. So for our side, we do two things. So for us, we want to have a mixed model, and we call it the hybrid model, because it's very difficult in this part of the world to be a support organization for social entrepreneurs and to be financially independent 100%. So hybrid model for us means that we need to have a healthy mix, a mix of services that we sell. So what do we sell? So we sell mostly knowledge. So we're a consultancy firm, so we sell information, research, data, training, and also we have a co-working space, and we use it to rent equipment and rent spaces. And because we are also an incubator, that we invest in our startups, so we get a percentage, royalties of the revenue that is generated from the startup, and also invest in other profit-making companies. So we are basically a mix of a grant-making, an investor, and also a service consulting provider for ourselves and our whole ecosystem. So our organization, since its inception, focused on social entrepreneurship, because traditional donor model make that organizations are not financially independent and also not independent in their own programming, because most organizations, they have to follow what the donors say and have to follow the agenda that is mostly not independent. And at the same time, being reliant on a single source of funding really threatens the viability of the businesses. So the social enterprises we support, we push them to have first and foremost a commercially viable product or service that they need to sell, so that their main stakeholder is the market. And for us to be sustainable, we have to innovate and move away not only from traditional grant making, but service providing and positioning ourselves as a reliable partner, like any other international or European consultancy firm. Basically, a social enterprise is an organization that has two goals. The first goal is solving a social problem and earning revenue through selling products or services. In some countries, the term social enterprise is very regulated. It's a legal status. It's a hybrid between a regular not-for-profit and a company. Other countries, it's more of a concept rather than a legal status. So you can be a not-for-profit but have a model, a social enterprise model, where, for example, you generate some of your revenue from services. Other places, you can be a cooperative or a for-profit company, but you distribute your shares differently. So this is kind of a topic that is becoming a trend in the sector as funding is becoming tight, and also a lot of people now invest in innovation to really address the challenges they want to face. The term success is very difficult, because success is a fluffy term that we can't always mean in the same way. But some models that have worked for organizations are, for example, those who are providing products. Let's say I work on women empowerment. So instead of just doing workshops with people, so I make products and sell these products, so that the money that comes with this product is reinvested into capacity building or invested in advocacy. Or I work on agriculture with farmers. Most farmers have very little land and have very little income, so they cannot invest to grow their crops and grow their production. So one model can be how to aggregate all the crop production in one single unit, so that it increases revenue and the volume made by the farmers. These are just few examples of models that exist. So some of them are directly funneling through the mission of the organization. Let's say I do youth empowerment, so I sell services to young people, or other organizations have indirect models where basically let's say I own a restaurant and the money that comes from this restaurant is reinvested into providing skills for people with special needs or refugees or things like this. This is like it's a challenge, it's a continuous challenge. The first one is that these concepts in most African countries are not known. And there's a tendency in many countries that when people don't know something, they think that it doesn't exist. So there's kind of a blocking stage. Second challenge is governments. Because these are kind of different and new approaches. I don't like the term innovative because these concepts have been the norm in many countries in Europe and North America for decades. They're not new. They're just new for our environment. So making sure that the government understand that this is not a threat to them, and this is something that they can control and make sure that it fits the purpose. The third challenge is the sustainability of this model. In the countries where this model is mostly advanced, is, to the surprise of no one, is in Europe. Is in Northern Europe, like in Finland and Sweden, and we would say, oh, but these countries are rich. They don't need a social enterprise. People need to understand that social enterprise is not an enterprise for the poor. It's not just for poor people to give them money. No, it's a model to develop and understand needs and create a business based on that. So funding or scaling these concepts are very tough. In our region, the concept of angel investment, which is basically individuals who put money at the first stages of projects, is, I would say, non-existent, but I would say in some countries, you have both extremes. Those who are very, very much advanced, you'd say like in Kenya or Nigeria and other places, mostly in Francophone Africa, where it's very nascent. So these are the main, I would say, challenges that I face personally, and that we really have to get like resources and recognition from abroad to be able to fuel it back inside the operations in Africa. So I think that for us it is very difficult. It was very difficult just to really stick to our purpose, because traditionally, if you want to create a nonprofit, you just follow the money. So you follow the money, and then you put a proposal, and then you make that happen. For us, it really was. It's the opposite. It's focusing on strong programs that we deliver, that we believe fulfill our mission. It's a very hard choice, and also making sure that we use communities, not only money, like people. Like for example, one of our most successful educational projects is 90% free. Like it's free because it's led by communities, and we reach hundreds of schools through it. This is where innovation lies. So it's not just about money, or just paying a consultant, or just paying a fee, but how can you realign these needs across the board? I think one thing that was interesting for me to hear during these past few days was the whole idea of property and endowment. I've been thinking for quite some time to invest in a property so that it can be an endowment for the organization and use it as a source for access. So I think there are many people mentioned and shared how their organizations invested in reserves, invested in properties, created their own endowment funds. And this is something we started to think about, but I think that for me this meeting was like, it put it even higher on the agenda, that developing activities that are away from your core business is not bad. Being independent more is even mostly appreciated to create something that is more sustainable for everyone.